Hi, hopefully you guys have moved into Tableau and you're exploring. I'd encourage you to get to Tableau as soon as you can. You're going to run into data issues, and I'm going to demonstrate one right here. So let's say we wanted to start looking at the different parks, and I've got my data loaded in, and I've got my right join, and I've got my movie day variable set up. So let's just go ahead and take movie day, put that across the top. Now, if you're watching, you should be noticing that it brings up this null. And let's just go count the number of records in each of these. And so one thing you should notice is that each of these parks only have values for days that there were movies. And that's an artifact of your data. When we join the two, all the non-movie days had a park value of no. And that's because, remember when we did the right join, on the movies in the park side, there was only days when there were movies, so it put null in there. So what we have to do is we have to recover the park value. So let's go back here and look. If you take a look at this park value, that's going to be null for every non-movie day. So I'm going to show you briefly how to create a lookup table that allows you to recover that park value. And so all I'm going to do, this is my movies in the park data. This is the file I gave you. This is really straightforward. I'm just going to create a lookup table. So I'll just start a new worksheet and come back here and copy everything, just so I can maintain that copy, and I'll paste it in here. And then all I'm going to do is just go through and get rid of every column except for the park column and the closest L station column. So I just want to be able to create this lookup that allows me to check a station and then look up the park that it's closest to. And so I'm just going to go ahead and create a table. It makes life easier. And then I'll sort these reverse so that I can just go ahead and get rid of all the NAs. We're just going to delete those. Now if you notice here, these parks tend to be duplicated. And so I don't want duplicate values in a lookup table. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to remove duplicates, and I'll let you think about this, but I'm just going to remove duplicates based on the park duplicates, because I want to be able to look up a station in order to get the park name, because I'm going to join this little table on my L train ridership. And so I'm just going to go ahead and remove the duplicates. You see I've got 272 left. That seems reasonable. If I go through here, there should be no duplicate parks. And so if I were going to make this a lookup table, I'd then have to take this column and put it on the other side, because my lookup value has to be the first column. So then inside my L train station, I'm going to have like a station ID. And let's just say I've got 4906. I'm just going to write some stations here, assuming that this right here is my L train ridership data. And then I want to create a new column called park. I could do a VLOOKUP. So I'm going to look up that value in this table. It's going to be the second column, so I'm going to type a 2 in there, and I want it to be exact, so I'm going to type false. Hit enter, and you can see it brings up Archer Park. If I copy that down, it would bring up the next one. So that's how I could merge a new park column into my L train ridership data. because then the park value would exist for days that there aren't movies when I do the merge. So you could do that VLOOKUP in Excel. The other thing you could do, I'm just going to delete this. I'm going to just open up a new Excel spreadsheet, just a blank one. And the only reason I'm doing this is so I can take that, my blank one's on the left, my new lookup table, I'll call it my lookup table, is now on, my blank one's on the right, my lookup table's on the left. I'm just going to drag that in there, just clean up a little, and then I'm going to save this file separately so that I can load it into Tableau. And I'll call it Station Parks. So now that I've got that loaded and saved away, I won't save any of this. I'll clear things up here. There's my initial join. Now I can bring in, I just dragged in that Station Parks, that lookup table. And this is where it gets tricky, and I'm going to let you think about this, but you need to do some checks, make sure you have the same number of columns. You're going to have to decide what kind of join to do that, and you may even have to bring these in a different way to get them to work right. I'll just show you here that if I take, well, right away you see that there's no nose there, so my join isn't correct. But if I take all these out and I'm just looking at the numbers, you should be able to take this out, and in theory you should be able to keep the same number of rows. So if it doesn't work this way, we could try a left join. It just doubled, so that's not going to work. And I'm pretty sure in this case you're going to have to bring these totals in differently. So if you take the ridership data and then you bring in the lookup table, first of all, let's take a look here. We've got 988,858 rows. We take this lookup table and we want to maintain, we're going to work off station ID, and then we want to maintain everything that's in our ridership data. See, that's doubled, so we don't want to do that, and this is where it gets tricky, and this is why it's probably easier to just do this inside Excel and merge it into your ridership data just as a single column so that you've got that data in your ridership data. So what you just saw is just kind of the nature of the beast. You know what you need to get done. You need to preserve your park name and for days when there aren't movies, and so you got to mangle your data until you get it. So as you saw, it's probably easier to just move it, use a VLOOKUP to merge in the park name into your ridership data, and then you can merge that with your movies in the park data. Hopefully that was helpful. Have fun.